Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go into which palettes I've used the most that were kind of in my rotation. And if you're curious on what palettes I had been using, just go to my spring eyeshadow, my top picks for spring. Those are all the palettes I've been pulling from. I've just been using those. I did pull for this one quite a bit. This is the Flora Fantasia Quad from Pat McGrath. And this peachy shade, I absolutely love. I've been reaching for this one a lot as well. I didn't really use any of the other shades. I mostly just use this peachy matte to kind of help pull a look together, but I really do enjoy that one. I used it probably about 3 times. And this is the Utopian Dreams palette, and I reached for this one probably like about 4 times, and I absolutely love this one. I am going to be doing a Pat McGrath palette ranking, so that should be up fairly quickly, but I'm not going to give anything away, so I'm not going to say my overall thoughts on this. But if you follow me on Instagram or you've watched my videos, then you probably heard me talk about this one a lot, so you can probably guess my ranking, but I love that one. And the next one I pulled for, this was my most pulled for palette. Oh, this comes back, that's sweet. Okay, this is the Enchanted palette from Sigma, and the shimmers are so beautiful. Like, they're super sparkly. They are more of that topper formula, so if you don't like that kind of formula, then you probably wouldn't enjoy this palette. But I absolutely love this palette, and I'm trying to get it to focus. This pink matte shade, I think I'm probably gonna hit pan on it fairly quickly because I've been just reaching for this a ton. I'm probably gonna put this back into my collection just so I can reach for some other stuff, but I do love this palette. I'm so glad that I have it. It's been one of my most reached for palettes for spring. And this is the Costa Coral from ColourPop, and I actually did not reach for this one. It is more of like that corally color story, but I really do like this color story in the spring. I just didn't reach for it. I am gonna keep this in the rotation, so I'm just gonna keep this in my makeup basket. I'm gonna be pulling 10 different palettes to choose from the month, and then I'll just pull from the basket. But here we have, this is the Pat McGrath Bridgerton Diamond of the Water palette, and I love this one. I've used it about 3 times since my Sephora haul, and I really do like it. I like that the pinks are more sheer, so they can be built up, or it can just be a sheer wash of color, but I really do enjoy this one. And one of the other ones I pulled from a lot is this Mercury Retrograde from Huda Beauty. I use this one probably about 4 times as well, and I love this color story. I love that it's a little bit more it's got some pastels, but it's also got those neutrals in there too. This is like my go-to travel palette. I just absolutely love it. I am gonna be putting this back into my collection, I think, just so I can reach for some other stuff. But here we have the Lost in Los Angeles palette from BH, and I think this is just such a good, I wouldn't say dupe, but like replacement, or just something you can use instead of getting the Natasha Denona pastel palette, because it's a very similar vibe. And like, obviously you're not getting the Natasha Denona formula, but sometimes you just don't need the Natasha Denona formula in everything, or like a high-end formula. Like, say it's a pastel palette that you're gonna use a couple of times to get a cute spring look, you know? You don't need the best formula out there for that. But I really do love this one, and the BH formula is really nice too. So I've been reaching for this one a ton. I am gonna be probably putting this back into my collection. Even though it is very spring appropriate, I just have a lot of other springy palettes that I want to reach for as well. But I do really like this one. it is beautiful. And I use this one probably about 3 times. And when I'm saying how many times I use them, it doesn't necessarily mean that I reach for it for like an entire look. It just means that I reach for at least one shade in the palette. And here is the Lilac You a Lot from ColourPop. And I reached for this twice. And it is a really pretty lilac-y color story. And this is my favorite ColourPop eyeshadow palette. That's like a purple color story. This is just lighter in tone, and I really do like the lighter tones, so it is a favorite of mine. If you would like to see maybe like my top 10 or my top 5 favorite ColourPop palettes type of video, definitely comment down below, because I do have a lot of ColourPop. I don't think I would be able to do a ranking just because I do have quite a bit, and I think it would be kind of overwhelming to rank them all, just because, yeah, I just think it'd be kind of overwhelming. But here we have the Natasha Denona Trio Chrome palette, and I think I reached for this like 3 times. And oh my god, this is probably one of my favorite color stories out of like the bigger Natasha Denona palettes I have, just because it's so unique to my collection. I do have the gold palette as well, which is the bigger palette formula, but this is just such a pretty, it can be just such a pretty palette for spring. Like, look at this like orangey shade, and then this peachy shade, and then you got the purples, and the green row is not my favorite. I think I said in my video that I don't really use the green row that much, which is true, I don't. And when I reached for this palette this month, I just did a look out of this row, the purples. Surprise, surprise. Not surprised if you watch my videos regularly, but this is my favorite, probably out of the bigger palettes at the moment of the Natasha Denona. I just love this color story. But now we are going to kind of get into the picking out palettes for the month. And I am going to keep the Coast to Coral in. And I did have the Michaela palette in the rotation, but I never used it. I don't know. That's just not my vibe right now. I'm not really into the brighter colors right now, so I don't think I'm gonna pull that one. It just doesn't really inspire me at the moment. But I am gonna go in and get into the picking out the eyeshadow palettes. So we're just gonna go ahead and kind of go through my eyeshadow drawers and see what we can find. Okay, so here is my first eyeshadow drawer. And I think I'm gonna go in and pull this quad from ColourPop. I just think it's really purpley and pretty, and I really like this glitter right here. So yeah, we are gonna pull that one, and there was a couple I do have already pulled because I knew I wanted to use them. So now we are at 7. So we are gonna go into this next drawer right here. And as you can see, I did put back the Michaela palette, and I think I want to go in and pull the, this is a palette that's kind of on the chopping block for me. This is the Tartelette in Bloom palette, and I have the bigger version that she ended up discontinuing, or that Tarte ended up discontinuing. I just want to try to use this more because I don't use it very often. And it is a really pretty color story. Yeah, look at that. It's just like, it's really neutral, but still really pink. I just love this color story, so I want to try to use it more. I think the reason why I don't use it that much is because I don't really care for the formula. Nothing I want over there. Ooh, let's pull the Amrezy palette. I absolutely love this palette. Like, look at how, yeah, my Barb shade is kind of on its last leg, but I still really love this palette. It's really pretty. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this. We're gonna go ahead and pull this one. And we just need one more. So, I don't think I'm gonna pull any color pop this month, but let's go back up here. Why don't we pull another palette that's kind of on the chopping block? We are gonna pull the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry eyeshadow palette. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go into the palettes and show you what I picked out. And there were some I had already pulled previously in the week because I knew I wanted to use them. So I'm gonna kind of go through those first. And this is the Naked Cherry. And this is like a darker, like on this side of the palette, it does pull more dark. But then it has this lighter side. And I do want to try to kind of get more use out of some of my older palettes before they go bad. And this is quite old. I think I got it right when it released or close to then. So I've had it for a long time. So we're going to try to get some more use out of this. And I love the pink mattes in this palette. Like, they are just so pretty. And I did pull another Naked palette, so we're gonna get into that one. And I love the peachier tones on this side of the palette. And then on the other side, it's just got those pretty purpley tones. Sorry, I'm trying not to blind you with the palettes. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with palettes that have mirrors in them. It's just really hard to not blind you when I'm showing them on camera. But I didn't love the formula of this palette, but I do want to get more use out of it because I do have it. So we are going to try to use this month. And if there's any specific palettes you want to see videos on or tutorials, let me know. And another palette, older palette I have that I want to get more use out of is this Sultry palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I love this palette. Like, the shimmers are so nice and creamy and buttery. It's a really pretty palette. So we're gonna try to get some more use out of it. And it does have this like corally bright pink shade, which I think is perfect for spraying. You could just do like neutral on top, party on the bottom on the lash line. I think that would be really pretty. And yeah, and then you do have this rose quartz shade right here, and that's a really pretty pinky shade. So excited to use this month, hopefully. And then I'm gonna kind of take a break from the Anastasia because I did pull 2 more palettes from Anastasia, but we have this In a Trance palette from ColourPop. And the reason why it looks like it hasn't been used is because this is a new palette. But I love the brighter pinks in here. I just kind of want to create like a really pretty bright pink pastel look. I think that would be so pretty. And I just love the mix of purples and pinks and blues. I think the palette is very complementary. So I'm excited to use that this month. And another ColourPop palette I pulled is the Coast to Coral. This was in my last month's Shop My Stash, and this is one of them that just didn't end up getting used. But I have used this a lot in the past. I had this last summer and I used it a ton. So we're gonna try to use this one this month. It's got some really nice shades in it. And another palette I pulled was this Tartelette in, it's actually Juicy. I was thinking it was in Bloom. I don't know why, but, and this is a really pretty neutral color story. I just really like it. You do have the 2 rows of pink, and then on the bottom it's more neutral. But I just really like this palette. But I just haven't used it in a long time. So we're gonna try to use that this month. And another ColourPop palette I pulled is this ColourPop Animal Crossing. Mine does kind of look a little beat up. It does have foundation on the front, so excuse that. And just look at this. It's got this like pressed glitter in here, which I know some people don't like the ColourPop pressed glitters, but I really like this one. So, and then this is a really pretty shade. I know it's got the matte with the glitter, which I know most people don't love, and I don't either, but this specific shade is so pretty. Let me just swatch it. Like, it is so pigmented for being like a light pastel purpley color. So I'm excited to use that this month. And here we have a palette that is on the chopping block. This is the Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry palette. And as you can see, mine is very, I'm gonna try to get it to focus. As you can see, it's very beat up. It's very old, but I haven't decluttered it because it was a gift. And I hate decluttering things that were given to me by family members. I don't, it's probably 6 years old, but I'm gonna try to use it this month because I just really like it. This like mauve-y, like, oh my Lanta, like, look at how pigmented that is. Like, it's just such a pretty like shimmer. It's like super foiled, like on another level. And here is the Norvina palette. I pulled this one as well, and here we have just like a really pretty purpley color story, which I love, and I'm gonna try to use this month, hopefully. Sometimes when I pull them, I only end up using about half of them, but it's just fun to pull palettes and try to get inspiration and, you know, for what you want to use that month. And you may not use them all, but it's like fun to just pull different palettes. And the last one is another Anastasia Beverly Hills. I was clearly in an Anastasia Beverly Hills mood this month, along with like ColourPop and just some OG brands that used to be really popular, but they're not that anymore. But here is this palette, and I know a lot of people didn't like this one, but I love this palette. Like, this shimmer cupcake is so pretty, along with Barb. Barb is just such a unique shade. I don't think I have anything like it in my collection. I would swatch it to show you, but as you can see, Barb is kind of on her last leg. She's kind of trying to fall out of the pan, but yeah, I love this palette. It's so pretty, and I think it can be summery too. Like, you could totally do a neutral look with just like a pop of blue on the lash line. That's kind of a go-to for me for summer, is just neutral with pop on the lash line. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, definitely give it a big thumbs up. I did just want to say, like, I didn't really include any face products or like blushes or anything like that, and I think for a while I probably won't be including those in this video, just because I have a ton of project pan items I'm focusing on, and if I pull extra products, that kind of takes away from the products I'm trying to pan. So I think for a while this will be more like palette, like I'll be pulling different palettes and just seeing what I want to use for the month. But if you did enjoy this video, definitely go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. That helps out my channel a lot. And if you are not already subscribed, definitely go ahead and hit the red subscribe button so we can be friends here on YouTube. But I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.